Hey everyone, this is to explain your walking log sheet in a little bit more detail than I did last night or the other night um, for the walking jogging for the geology trip. And so in this form, you can print it out, take it with you on your trip. You can download it to your phone. You can make your own thing in your phone or on a laptop and type these things in or just make notes about what you do for each day. But these are the sections that you'll need to fill in for all of the days that you are in uh, on your trip. So for the first column, it's pretty simple. The date. Do every day from the day you leave to the day you get back. So even the days that you may be flying most of the day, just so you can kind of see what's going on. For the distance, on your days where you're kind of flying, you can do the distance that maybe you're walking around in the entire day. So, give it a good estimate on how far you think you walked. Your phones will typically track that. Androids and iPhones both track that if you have an Apple Watch. Um, if you're unable to track that, just do your best guesstimate of that. On traditional days, so the days that you guys are exploring kind of out in the wilderness and things like that, you should still be able to gauge how far you guys are hiking and walking. So that can be in miles or kilometers, whichever kind of suits you and you have a measurement of. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It is trying to give you a good estimate. So a lot of the trails you may be on may tell you this trail is 2 miles, and another trail you did was 1 mile, and then you had to come back. And so, that total for that day may be 6 miles. Your duration's going to be interesting. I would love to do it just when you're, actively doing kind of the walking and hiking and that type of stuff. That might be difficult unless you have some kind of watch or app that can track that. So you very easily could just put how many hours you guys were active when you started your activity versus when you were done with your activity for the day. Walking up, you guys talk for a while, explore things, look at the different features, and then when you come back down, um, and at the end of the day, that could be your total time. So your duration might be pretty long. It could be shorter on some days if you can track it that way, but you don't have to do like from the time you wake up to the time you go down. It's really just those active times because we're trying to get, what was your pace? So, for example, some days you might cover a lot of distance during the day, while other days, depending on what the weather's like or the terrain's like or the elevation, you may walk for the same amount of time, maybe 2 3 hours or whatever, but the distance was much shorter, and so those are the kind of things to pay attention to. The pace is just literally um, your distance divided by the time, or sorry, strike that, your time divided by the distance. So if it took you an hour to go 3 miles, your pace would be a 20-minute mile. So again, that is time over your distance. If you did 10 miles that day and it took you 10 hours, well, that's 1 hour per mile that you covered. Exercise heart rate. So during your activity, some point during the day, I would like you to try to get your heart rate. This can be done through a simple Apple Watch if you have that feature, or you can palpate that by feeling your wrist and counting that. There are some really cool videos, just a simple Googling of how to measure my heart rate. It should give you a YouTube video that shows you how to do that. Doing that each day just to see how high your heart rate gets during the actual activity. I would like you to record. You may not be experts in it, but should give you a ballpark. And then get your resting heart rate each day. So first thing in the morning, just take your heart rate very quickly, and that way we can see how much it changed during that activity. You also want to note the weather, just kind of what's going on there. The terrain, I skipped one terrain. So, are you walking on rocks? Is it dirt? Is it asphalt? Is it loose rock or is it, very hard rock? And you guys are going to be learning all about the different types. But, how is that terrain? Is it snow? Is it, mud? Whatever that terrain is. And you can leave multiple comments in these sections. So if you had multiple different things you walked on for the weather as well, if you had raining in the morning, but it was sunny and humid in the afternoon, that's fine. You can make those multiple notes there. Elevation. So you may not be able to actually measure the elevation that you're at and that you were doing activity at, but it's more of a, was there an elevation change? So some days you may be walking and hiking and there's relatively little elevation change. You could write none or very minimal elevation change. Some days you guys may change your elevation a lot. You may go up a big hill or go up a mountain, and there may be 1,000 foot of elevation change. Um, Other days you may go all the way downhill depending on how your hikes and walks are done. So you can list, there's extreme elevation change. We climbed 1,000 feet and came back down. There will be markers at some of the national parks that kind of indicate this, or some of the maps. But just, give me a general idea. Was there a lot of elevation change? Was there a little bit? Was there none? Did you go just uphill, just downhill? Those things can make a difference. If you know the actual elevation, sweet. That would be even great information to put on there. Um, and so we also put surface. So surface and terrain are very similar. Surface is more, I think, what I said for terrain, which is those rock surfaces, or or you climbing, through mud or rocks or pine straw or gravel or asphalt. Where terrain maybe is more of the, we were hiking up the side of a rocky mountain, or we were hiking in the woods, or um, we were on flat ground, on paved roads. So use your best judgment on those. The surface and terrain are very close to the same. Just trying to give you some boxes to put information where I can tell what's going on, and then you can use that information for your paper. Um, Comments, this would be a great time to put kind of maybe where you were at that day, what you were doing, how you felt, how legs felt, things like that. Because I'll look at this information for your walking log, and then you're going to probably want to use some of this information to write that reflection paper. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at jhoward@highlands.edu. Otherwise, you guys have fun, and I look forward to looking at your logs when you submit them. All information can be found on D2L once it opens, but I want to go ahead and give you guys this. Thanks so much, and you guys have a great day.